From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Amanda Starantino. As the world marks the holiday honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., his legacy is being celebrated and remembered. But it's also clear the fight for equality is not over. WRTV's Cameron Riddle has perspective from a Central Indiana scholar who leads a college named after Dr. King.
Nearly 53 years after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the issues he died fighting for are as relevant today as they were in 1968.
If you think about it, the Civil Rights Act passed in 1964. And from 1964 to his death in 1968, we saw some of the worst racial violence in this country. Exactly what we see with George Floyd and others who were unjustly murdered and who lost their lives.
Dr. Sean Huddleston is the president of Martin University in Indianapolis, a predominantly black institution named after Dr. King, who was killed at 39 years old. If King were alive today, Huddleston says he would be in part happy to see how far the nation has come, electing the country's first black president and vice president, and to see the leader of King's legendary church, Reverend Raphael Warnock, elected to represent Georgia in the Senate. But Huddleston believes King, who would be 92 years old, would say there is much more work to do.
We've achieved certain aspects of what he dreamed of. But the fact that black men and women still have to fear for their lives at times when they are stopped by law enforcement, we have not arrived there yet. Quite honestly, I don't think he'd be very surprised at the uproar and the discord and the continued hate that is so overt. And quite frankly, the continued oppression and attempts at inequity and injustice and inequality that are still alive and well.
Huddleston says disparities prevalent in the 1960s continue to disproportionately impact black Americans today. It's a topic Martin University is focused on this year, monitoring its graduates to ensure they are successful and treated fairly in the workplace after they are hired at a job. It's the same and final issue Dr. King was fighting for the week he was killed.
We want to help ensure, I should say, that at some point they'll have an opportunity to be promoted or they'll have an opportunity to progress in their career. And if organizations, businesses, corporations don't have strategies that allow for that progression and are intentional, then it won't happen. And so we want to help them.
Cameron Riddle, WRTV.
People in Fishers are marking MLK Day by sharing their dreams. Now this month, the Parks Department gave away fill-in-the-blank style I Have a Dream signs as a way to publicly honor Dr. King in a socially distant way. Residents filled them out and placed them in their yards. The messages include calls for equality and kindness. Homeowners were invited to put their addresses on a map so members of the community could take a driving tour of all the signs. Well, now to the forecast. Here's a live look at downtown Indianapolis. Kevin joins us now tracking changes in the forecast. Kevin.
And Amanda, it's a dry downtown Indianapolis, the moisture southwest of Indy. Until 7 a.m., there is an advisory that I'll outline for you in a second. Most areas will see less than an inch of snow. Could be isolated spots that see a little more than that. And with temperatures below freezing, we may have some slick spots. Sullivan to Bloomfield, then from Bloomington through Nashville, Columbus, and Greensburg south, the most likely spots to see some light accumulating snow. We may see some snow as far north as I-70, but the accumulating snow more likely south. Bloomington on over toward Vincennes, then Bedford and Seymour, just moistening things up now. You may have a few flurries. Temperatures 30 in Indy, but above freezing. Terre Haute and in Bloomington. As we go through the overnight, still the activity south of Bloomington and Seymour, that's at 1 a.m. I'll finish that timeline for you. Then we'll talk about when some sun will come out and how much we'll see over the next few days.
Preparations for Wednesday's presidential inauguration continue in the shadow of the attack on the U.S. Capitol. ABC's Faith Abube is in Washington with the latest.
A false alarm Monday sending people running inside the nation's capital. Memories of the January 6th insurrection still fresh as new chilling video from The New Yorker reveals more about the violent mob. Rioters removing items from lawmakers' desks, hunting for Vice President Mike Pence and Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Inside the Senate chamber,
objection to counting electoral votes of the state of Arizona. Can I get a photo of that? Wait, no, that's okay. All right, I'm pissed. He's with us.
Fears now of an inside attack after police arrested at least one off-duty National Guardsman for joining the insurrection. The military now vetting guardsmen involved in securing the Capitol.
The FBI is part of it, the Secret Service is part of it, and once they are certain that there's no insider threat, then that soldier, guardsman or airman is given a credential.
Meanwhile, the nation's capital looking like a fortress. Thousands of armed guards fencing with razor wire and security checkpoints already in place. The FBI also making more arrests connected to the insurrection. A New Mexico commissioner now charged. And this Pennsylvania woman, Riley June Williams, turning herself in after allegedly taking a computer from House Speaker Pelosi's office and trying to sell it to Russian spies.
Sir, how's the speech ready going? Have you finished your speech?
While President-elect Biden focuses on Wednesday's inauguration, President Trump planning his departure, a farewell from Joint Base Andrews with military fanfare. And breaking with tradition, neither Trump nor the First Lady plan to be at the White House to welcome the incoming administration. Faith Abube, ABC News, Washington.
And a reminder, the Indiana Statehouse complex will be closed to the public through Wednesday. The governor's office says this is being done out of an abundance of caution in response to possible protests related to the presidential inauguration. State legislative meetings are also canceled this week. No parking signs were posted around the Statehouse last week. And the FBI has said the Bureau has not received any specific and substantiated threats in Indiana related to any government buildings. Tomorrow, Indianapolis leaders will talk about violence prevention efforts in the city. A virtual news conference on the issue is scheduled at 10 a.m. Sadly, 2021 has picked up where 2020 left off when it comes to deadly violence. Last Tuesday, at least 5 people were killed in a span of 4 hours. And one of those victims was 60-year-old Johnny Purchase. He was shot and killed at New Bridges Apartments near 25th and Hillside on the north side. Today, friends, family, city, and community leaders honored Purchase's life and legacy. They say he was dedicated to serving the community. He worked at the Edna Martin Christian Center and Employ Indy, helping connect at-risk youth with resources.
Johnny is one of those persons that the chief referred to as one of those unsung heroes. One of those persons who are out there every day doing the heroic work, but you never know their name. But you see their face because they're always there. He is our hero. And he's a hero of this community. He's a hero of our society. And there are many like Johnny who are out there doing the work every day.
After the remembrance ceremony, friends and family released balloons with messages of thanks and hope. Purchase's death is still under investigation. You can report information anonymously at 317-262-TIPS. Police say no one is hurt after someone fired a gun inside Circle Center Mall in downtown Indianapolis. Officers were called to the mall this afternoon on a report of a shot fired. Investigators say it happened during a disturbance between 2 customers. We are working to learn more details. We will bring you updates as we get new information. The annual point-in-time count continues this week. The count is meant to document how many people in Marion County stay in shelters, transitional housing, or on the streets on a single night. The information helps determine resources and funding for people experiencing homelessness. Service providers, lawmakers, and others also use the findings to better understand the root causes of homelessness and how to solve those issues. Lyndon Jackman says he ended up at Wheeler Mission after the friend he was staying with moved.
I was staying in a tent. Thank God for the Homeless Initiative program. There's been a lot shut down and you know, there's really nowhere to go.
It's really important because it helps us with planning, solutions and interventions and figuring out how to best target resources. So it is an important count, but I also want to reiterate, it's just one source of data. We are looking at data all year long with our partner agencies to really understand how homelessness is changing.
The Coalition for Homelessness Intervention and Prevention conducts the count. Usually it happens in one night. This year it will be done over 5 days due to pandemic safety changes. A full report of the findings will be released in the spring. And now to the latest on the pandemic. 2,386 COVID patients are being treated at hospitals across Indiana. That's according to the latest update from the State Department of Health. Around 2,500 new positive cases were reported yesterday. 30 new deaths were reported between Friday and yesterday, bringing the state's total to more than 8,900. Anyone aged 70 and older, long-term care residents, first responders, and healthcare workers are eligible for the vaccine in Indiana. You can sign up at ourshot.in.gov or by calling 211. Getting through and rebounding from the pandemic will likely be a big part of Governor Eric Holcomb's State of the State address. Governor Holcomb will outline his vision for 2021 at 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. You watch it live here on WRTV, the WRTV app, and the WRTV Facebook page. Tomorrow in Washington, the Senate is set to get back to work. Confirmation hearings will start for President-elect Joe Biden's cabinet nominees. That includes Treasury Secretary nominee Janet Yellen. Yellen was the first woman to serve as chair of the Federal Reserve. In her testimony, she's expected to call on Congress to do more to fight a deep pandemic-induced recession. The confirmation hearing for former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg as Transportation Secretary is scheduled to start Thursday. Coming up at 1, college is getting creative to keep COVID-19 off campus. And next,
we were called to action in a way, and that we needed to bring what we could to our community by allowing them to escape.
A professional theater company in Central Indiana is finding new ways to safely entertain the public.
Loan officers can translate for you.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
What's old is new again. That mentality is helping a professional theater company in Carmel get through the pandemic as normal performances remain in limbo. Tonight, we're putting Actors Theater of Indiana in the spotlight. After COVID-19 forced the organization to cancel a show in March, ATI immediately started hosting performances on Facebook to connect with the community. Co-founder Don Farrell says that led to more conversations about how to safely provide entertainment. Soon, the theater was hosting drive-in productions.
We're going to continue doing those once the weather gets better in 21. I'd say probably look for us sometime around maybe May or so, and maybe we'll continue that into the summertime. And it might just be a new program that we just add to what our offerings are, depending on how that continues on and the support with it and things. But yeah, it you know, out of necessity, it forces so much other creativity.
Now, Actors Theater is bringing new life to one of its productions from 2019. Alabama Story is about an Indiana native who becomes a librarian in Alabama. Her life and livelihood are put at risk when a children's book sparks controversy. Farrell says ATI filmed the performance for archiving purposes. The recording was never intended to be seen publicly, but once again, necessity led to a creative opportunity.
Actors Equity Association, or the union that we work with, they came up with a new agreement because of COVID-19 to help theater companies that had that to be able to stream that. And we obviously pay the actors that are involved with the production, and there's other expenses they have to go along with that as well. But by doing so, we're able to give that story another life of our production, and hopefully reach even more people with this great, impactful story.
Alabama Story is streaming on demand now through February 14th. For more information, go to WRTV.com and click on this story. And now to the forecast. WRTV Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory joins us now, tracking another round of snow. Kevin.
I'm staring at some of it right now. Amanda, it's been 4 straight days that we've had a trace or more of snow, the longest of the winter so far. Bloomington has 34 degrees. with light snow, and it is light. Visibility still at 3 miles. Again, less than an inch in most spots. We could see some light snow as far north as Indianapolis, but the advisory is from Bloomington to Columbus and Greensburg south until 10 a.m. We follow the timeline as we go overnight, 1 a.m. Still Bloomfield just toward Lake Monroe, Seymour, and Bedford with light snow. Then it pushes a little more to the south from there, and that's at 4 a.m. By 7 a.m., wave goodbye. That'll be quickly off to the south and east. We'll be working on breaks in the cloud cover and getting into some sunshine for your Tuesday. Only 20 as the overnight temperature up in Peru, 25 in Columbus, 23 in Bloomington. Cold enough that there will be slick spots, especially south of Interstate 70 as you get on I-65, for example, Bartholomew County, Columbus down toward Seymour and then Louisville. Temperatures next 2 days will stay quite cool, 34 degrees. We make our jump, our move into the 40s Thursday. We're there, fleeting time period, because temperature is much cooler again as we get to Friday and the weekend. As far as that west wind tomorrow, 10 to 20 miles per hour, that will make it feel colder than 34. But with some sunshine, we'll call it even. That'll certainly help. Temperatures to the north just a little bit cooler in Peru. Richmond about 33, and you'll make a recovery down in Bloomington and Columbus from the lower 20s to about 36. Tomorrow night, another weak weather system. Instead of hitting the southern portion of the state, this is the northern half, and you can see how light the snow is. Just some light snow and snow showers, and then that too moves out by the time we get going on Wednesday. Wednesday's temperatures about the same as tomorrow, 34 degrees with that mixture of clouds and sunshine. Temperatures peak on Thursday, still dry. We're dry Friday and Saturday for that matter, but we're back just above the freezing mark Sunday and Monday as warmer air comes back into the picture. Temperatures in the 40s. Our rain-snow mix chance will increase as well early next week. Amanda.
The spring semester starts tomorrow at universities across central Indiana. Many students had to get tested for COVID before returning to campus. Scripps reporter Amanda Brandeis takes us to California, where one university is helping students take control of their health as the pandemic continues.
From a distance, this college courtyard looks no different than most. But take a closer look at the vending machine, and you'll see it's very different.
So I'm just gonna scan the test kit.
Instead of chips and candy, it's dispensing free COVID-19 test kits to students like Carly Schulz.
I think it reduces a lot of the shame that people have around getting tested, because it kind of assumes that you're having symptoms, which isn't true most of the time.
Spread across campus, they're part of a multi-layered plan to bring students back to campus.
Next step is to put it in the drop box, and then...
We could not quite afford to just shut everything down.
Pradeep Khosla, chancellor of the University of California at San Diego, says to test students weekly, they had to make the process easy and convenient.
If you have to schedule your testing every week, things fall apart.
After dropping off the kit, students get results within 24 hours. In the first week, campus labs processed over 8,000 tests.
Sitting and knowing that you don't have coronavirus and spreading it to all my elderly neighbors is dope.
The second part of the strategy was this notion of surveillance. Can we predict what's happening?
So they created a wastewater detection program.
Knew that the virus was shed in fecal matter 3 to 5 days before it affected you physically.
The university shared these photos of samplers being installed across campus. They're monitoring educational and residential buildings. Some receive samples from several buildings.
Lately, it's been detecting COVID every day.
Right now, about 6% of students have classes in person. Anyone in a building where the virus is detected in wastewater gets a notification they've been exposed. The plan also works to normalize behaviors that help stop the spread.
Bad behavior on the part of a human being allows a pandemic to propagate.
400 student health ambassadors reward good behaviors on campus, like giving $5 Starbucks gift cards to students seen wearing a mask.
Come fall, left to me, I would love to open back near normal. It would not be 100% the same. It might be 90% the same, but that's my plan.
While measures like the vending machines require some logistical hurdles, Khosla believes their program could be replicated at colleges nationwide.
Anybody who thinks that we can help them in any way, They should feel free to approach us. We are able, capable, and willing.
In San Diego, I'm Amanda Brandeis reporting.
.com.
Welcome back. Another marquee sporting event will not happen in Indianapolis this year due to the pandemic, according to the NFL Network. The league has informed teams that the scouting combine is changing formats. The changes include no in-person workouts. The combine usually brings around 300 players, dozens of NFL executives, and more than 1,000 media members to Indianapolis. The city has hosted the annual event for more than 3 decades. And Pacers tickets go on sale tomorrow for games on January 24th through March 4th. Seating will be limited. The team started the season with no fans. They returned to the court on Wednesday after a long road trip. Our Brad Brown reports it was a whirlwind week for the blue and gold, and not just because of the schedule.
The biggest news to come out of the Pacers' week-long trip out west actually came on an off day. The trade that sent Victor Oladipo out after 3+ years with the team and brought guard Karis LeVert to Indiana. Oladipo with a long thank you to fans on social media saying, "I'll always be a Hoosier." Meanwhile, the physical exam that goes with a deal like this may have been a career-turning spot for LeVert.
Hat tip to our medical staff. We were able to find something that could help this kid and give him a better and clean prognosis for the rest of his life. So we're, in a way, it's an incredible story.
Doctors found a mass on one of LeVert's kidneys, something that likely would have gone unnoticed without the exam required for the trade. Nonetheless, the Pacers are standing by for someone they think could be a key piece of their lineup upon his return.
Everybody I know will want a timeline. I don't want to do that. People will heal in all different fashions, but we expect him out on the court, and we're going to be really a good basketball team.
The Western swing had a little bit of everything. Started and ended with defensive disasters. 127 and 129 points given up to the Kings and the Clippers.
We left guys too open. We were throwing out a lot of different defenses, and I feel like they caught on to some of the box and two, some of the triangle and two, in the box and one, and then it was harder for us to catch up.
In between those, solid wins over Golden State and Portland. Add in a COVID-postponed game against the Suns, and the whole trip feels a bit like a break-even week.
And this is a steady team. This is a mature, becoming a veteran group that's been together for a while. So, we lost a very good player. But this team is going to continue to play good ball.
You got to be flexible. There's going to be changes. There's going to be postponements. We got guys on this team that can really play, and they're going to be able to step up at different times, So it wasn't. I'm looking forward to the next game.
The Pacers now get another 4 straight home games. That starts Wednesday against Dallas. Toronto will be here for a doubleheader of sorts next Sunday, Monday. The NBA doing a lot of those on the schedule this season to cut down on travel. Pacers will do a double at Charlotte at the end of next week. Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
One day only at Ashley Home Store.
The colors of some snow and light rain. The rain south of Bedford, light snow in Bloomington toward Nashville. This will continue to stay to the south and pull away in the morning. We'll work on some sunshine tomorrow, lower 20s to start the day. Afternoon high temperature of 34 or 35 degrees. Amanda?
Thanks for joining us. Good Morning Indiana starts at 4:30.